What's the deal with people? You know it is Don Tony Teflon. I'm back at you with another one. Thank you for everybody in the chat. Join me right here live. Everybody out here. Soon we will have more people. So we will not get this show going until we do get more people. I think I haven't had a chance to share it. So if you can, please share this on your social networks so we can get a lot of people in here. I'm going to go and share this on my social network right now real quick. This should have popped up on my phone. And now that I have, I would like to introduce my guest at this particular time, the one, the only Kev from the channel Bridge 4. What's going on, Kev?
What's happening, brother? I'm actually trying to share this link right now. You know me, I'm technologically illiterate despite being a YouTuber. But should we give them a little sneak peek? Should we tease what just happened or no? Should
we will give them the tease.
Do that.
We would definitely give them the tease. Let's get this thing shared out there real quick on my tweet it. Live with Bridge 4 right now.
Boom, I did it.
Thank you.
So who we got in the chat? Let's see. We've got OTDA, of course. OTDA has nothing better to do than hang out with us. What's up, OTDA? Sam R09, Smoking Too Hard, Apparently Human, Alex, AK, Alicia Kingston, Support Gaming 2020. Wow, you got a lot of people already. Sarita Pearson and my man Benji. What's up, Benji?
Benji's here. We got the Teflon Eagle. Someone who's named after my own heart right there is in the building. Support Gaming 2020. You said that Vince Harper's in the building. Apparently Human is in here. We got the lady from the Lady and the Don channel up in here. Rocking LMR. Thank you, sweetie. We got T-Baby up in here. We got a bunch of people in here. We shall have more people, I'm sure, while we keep going. But all right, so and we got the Unspun Yarn is up in the building, rocking with us. What up? So just in case, I'm gonna put this out there. I have a new we got Don the Vice and Fire. Don Willie's in the building, rocking with us.
No doubt.
What up, my man? So real quick, so people know, just in case you see the outfit on where Don don't do double outfits, but me and Bridge just recorded. I have a new series that I'm doing. It's called Asked and Answered. And Bridge was my first guest on it. And what it basically is I take a question. We do one question that is asked by you, the audience, and we answer that question for you. It doesn't matter what the question is. And depending on what the question is how I will decide on different guests. But I'm doing another one. Gray Area is going to be on the next one. I'm going to try to get this one out with Bridge tomorrow. All right. So obviously Elamar will be on, a bunch of them with me and stuff like that. And I'll have a bunch of other people. So all you got to do is when the Asked and Answered comes out, put QA in there. And if you're subscribed to Teflon TV, maybe we will answer one of your questions up there. Sam R09, let me say Sam R09 because she's in the building too. I think we did say that. Then we shout out just about everybody in here. I watched both you and you together. Where is my Gray? Gray is I don't know what Gray is right now. She'll probably be in the chat in a second. I can get her here. I'll get Gray here in a second. I can get her here. I'll just text her. She'll show up in the chat for you, no problem. Up to Bernie, rocking with the Don, Tony Teflon, and everything else. All right, so
real quick, I wanted to say, guys, I think we did a really good job. So when you see that video pop up for his new series, click on it. I think it's a good one. Start to finish. I think it's a really good one.
I do too.
Yeah. And also Don Willie. I just love how the first thing he always says is Valar Morghulis. Every single time. Valar Dohaeris, sir. That's cool.
Yeah, I think it's a good one. So don't be saying nothing about me when you see me in this shirt because I just taped it right now. All right. I don't want to hear nothing about Teflon's rocking the same shirt. That video. All right. Don't come to me with that shit.
That's funny.
All right, here we go. So we're going to be serious here, too. All right, this is a serious stream. We're going to be serious. We're going to play around. As always, we're going to have to. So this stream, we're going to talk about, did Season 8 ruin the whole series of Game of Thrones? Can that season be ruined just by one season? The way they wrapped it up, did it really just ruin the whole damn series? So before we get into it, I'm going to say, what do you believe, Bridge 4? I already think I know what you're gonna say. But what do you think? Do you think that Season 8 ruined all of Game of Thrones?
I think I'm in the minority in this, in that Spartacus, Big Brother and Survivor are my number 1 and 2. But Spartacus was always my number 1 show, and Game of Thrones is always my number 2. I don't know, man. I loved season 8. I truly loved season 8. So I don't think it ruined the show. I don't think it ruined the story. I think a lot of what happened in season 8 is going to happen in the books.
I think that a lot will happen that's in the book. And I think a lot of people are disappointed with a lot of things because people have their own opinion of how they think things are going to go. Mm-hmm. And I think that when it didn't go that way, a lot of people did get disappointed. But I do think that Dan and Dave purposely did things just to the fans not to be right. I think they did do crazy stuff. We got someone here right here. Monero Unlimited says right there, I love season 8.
Oh,
too.
yes.
You are not in the minority at all.
Nice, Monero.
You know what I mean? We have House Milton says, yes, we waited 2 years for that. Are you kidding me? That has something to do with it too. But I also have to say that when you look at it, right, that truly was supposed to be one season, right? There should have been no season 8. It should have ended in season 7.
Huh.
All that was.
Oh, you're saying put both of those together to make a final season?
That's what they wanted to do, but HBO put so much money in them that they decided they didn't want. They were supposed to end in season 7, and then HBO didn't want it to end then. So instead, they decided to cut it in half and do half the season that season and half the other season. So that all should have been one season. Now, if that was all one season, season 7 and 8, do you think it would have been better to have done it that way, or you think it was better for them to split it the way they did?
That's a great question. Never thought about it, but here's my answer. In terms of a first-time watch-through, doing that would have been phenomenal because I think a lot of people, one of their big gripes was that season 8 was too short, right? Mm-hmm. So if you had season 7 into season 8, that would have been a really good, long, powerful season. However, to play devil's advocate, the rewatchability of season 8 being just, it's like 6.5, whatever, 6.5 or 7 hours, the rewatchability of it, I think it's a very fun final season to rewatch. Like if it was a 10 episode, 10 hour thing, then, like picture watching a season 3. Season 3 may have been badass, but they, slow in some parts, blah, blah, blah. Whereas they really just went after it and they gave us the high level bullet points in season 8. So it has really good rewatchability value, at least for someone like me, someone who liked it. Going back and watching 6.5 hours, like I'll do it. I've done it a couple times in a single sitting, whereas I wouldn't do that with 10 hours. But for the first time through, that would have been badass doing 7 and 8 together. Yeah, that'd be gnarly.
Yeah, I think it would have. People would have seen it differently if they would have done it, because then you would have had a lot of more wars, more battles. It would have been a truly exciting season if they would have been able to. Now, that doesn't take away what we got right now. We don't know if it was the same altogether, if they would have been able to do the level of detail that they did for season 8, because it took them 2 years to get that done. So would they have really have been that detailed with it if they did it together? Maybe some things would have got chopped up and everything else and all that. But it seems like what disappoints people when you deal with season 8 that makes people ruin it. Number one, y'all asked for her, and look, there she is.
Yeah, Gray's in the house. What's up, Gray?
You see it right there. And she says, I rewatched it. Skip season 5 and pretend season 6, episode 10 is the ending. That's it. That's just the way it goes. Yeah, I agree. But I think when it comes down to a lot of these things, when you deal with a lot of them right off the bat, it comes down to specific characters, right? How they handle specific characters at the end that people just didn't like and everything else. So one of the people I think people complain about the most is Daenerys Targaryen. Ooh. And I think it's really the turn that we see Daenerys. All of a sudden she becomes a psychopath, that she just wants to burn King's Landing down. How do you think they dealt with that turn of Daenerys? Did they foreshadow it enough during the year, other seasons, for you to believe that it was justified for her to make this turn? Any question I'm asking, Bridge, I would love for y'all to answer in the chat, and I will put them up on the screen. So do y'all also feel that it was justified? Did they do a good enough job setting up the fact that Daenerys was going to turn to this?
Yeah, I think they did. I think the downside was that, like, I can't believe I didn't see it coming. I should have seen it coming. I mean, she would snap even at people like Jorah way back early in the story. And I love her arc for a reason. I don't love, because I absolutely love Daenerys. As I've said to you before, my favorite characters and stories are breakers of chains, and she's the definition of that, right? So it's like, I love her as a character. But what's great about that, like, I love Sandor going down there and not being able to get over his vengeance, because it's just so real. It's sad, but it's real. And with Dany, it's like, Dany's story started with her on the run. She was always on the run. And then her brother treated her, she was a brood mare. She was sold off to a Dothraki warlord. I mean, she was always a prisoner. Then she goes and frees the prisoners. But at the end of the day, she was broken from the very beginning. It's just such a tragic arc. And like, she was brainwashed. Actually, in the beginning of the story, she has that thought where she's like, all she wanted was the big house with the red door, the lemon tree outside, and the childhood I'd never known. But then she gets brainwashed into thinking she has to get the throne, and she goes down that path. I think her arc was badass, like tragically sad, but awesome. Yeah.
I hear you. See, it's hard for me to say that because when I look at Daenerys, right, and everything else, and I start looking back, and if y'all look at fan of my channel, you watch, there's a lot of times that I said, you know, I remember I did one video and I paused it right when she was burning the people alive and feeding them to the dragons, right?
Yeah, that's a great point.
I paused it right on her eyes and I put a link and said crazy eyes, right? Because the eyes look crazy in that picture, and I pointed that out. But you know, it looks a little crazy. Eyes are looking a little suspect right here, you know.
Totally.
So when you did that, now another thing they'll say is that they'll say that when she killed the Masters of Marine and hung their bodies, like that was supposed to be a sign.
Oh.
I don't see that as a sign because I feel her being justified for doing that. Was it a little outlandish to have the bodies pointing to the direction? Yes, but I think it was more justified. Nothing that I seen her do makes me believe that she would just flip and just want to conquer the world. Like, I didn't see that there. You know what I mean? I didn't see her there where she is just everything happened so bad. Now I want to conquer the whole entire world, especially when you have this whole thing about I want to break the wheel, right? That was the line they have given her, that she wants to break the wheel. But then, you know, you see, I'm gonna say, you know, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna defend it a little bit because, you know, it was kind of wrong what she did to the Tarleys, right? Because people that said she didn't want to be a murderer, but then when they gave up, she burnt them to the ground anyway, right? So they do have a little bit of things here and there about her, but I do not think it was developed well enough. I think they could have did more earlier on to point that, hey, this chick might be crazy. You know what I mean? When you date a crazy chick, right? And maybe you haven't, but when you do, she ain't just crazy over you. You know it. Like, there's something that gives it away, at least early on, and you like, this chick a little crazy, right?
But that could be a good thing in certain ways.
Yeah, it is. But it isn't when she snaps on you. You see it before that, right? It's not right when she snaps. You see that you may stay with her, you know. But what's that song? Hey, you're a crazy chick, but you F so well. I'm part of it. So you know, you see that, and you may let it slide, but you know, like, yo, this chick crazy. Like you tell your boys, like, yo, my girl's crazy, son. I can't go out tonight. Nah, she killed me, son. She really killed me. I can't go out tonight. I gotta chill. You know, you see that. I didn't see that with Daenerys in it. I did not see it at all.
Can I just mention a shout out to the show, because most of the time when you talk about differences, the book is better in the difference. But I loved what they did with Hizdar Zolorak, that scene that you mentioned. First, I mean, shout out to him as an actor. I think the writing was great too. Shout out to him as an actor, just his performance in that scene, just the way he delivered those lines. But I think he said something like, my father has been fighting against, like, he did not like this. He happened to be one of like the slave owners and the rulers, but he was actively trying to change things. And you hung him anyway. I forget exactly what happened in that scene, but it sort of painted Dany as in not that kind. You know what I mean? But I love how you called her out for the Rickon and Dickon Tarley thing, because in my chats, so many people in my chats after whatever season that was, I think that was season 7, they defended her for doing that. But you can't just kill prisoners of war. That's cray cray. I didn't just say cray cray.
Yeah, it's a little cray cray. It's a little cray cray. You know, and as T Baby says, she's like, y'all love crazy. We do love crazy. You know, it's cute. It's cute to a point. It's cute to a point. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's cute to a point. In the beginning, when it's just, you know, it's a little cute. But then all of a sudden, when she's really flipping out of you, it ain't cute no more. Like, yo, shorty, shorty, please, baby, please. You know, after that comes out there like that, when she starts, wait, baby, please, baby, please, like Jay-Z when he was in the elevator after he got caught cheating on Beyonce.
Oh no!
Sister with ape shit on him was kicking his ass, and he's over here blocking the arms and everything else, and she's kicking him and everything else, and they're holding him back in the elevator. And that's what they keep.
Wait, they have that on what, like the surveillance footage or something?
Yeah. That's
great.
Shalon just put it right to Jay-Z. She's put it right to his ass. She's put it right to his ass, and that's just the bottom line right there. We got gray area. What does gray area say? She says something right here. She's after him. Lusandi was beheaded. A mad queen, an unchecked person would have roasted everything. To execute a perfect military strategy and then just burn the streets of people makes no sense. All right, so we talked about this a second ago about being crazy and actually being a reality at the same time. Yeah. Right. So that's exactly what it is, and I agree with Gray's point. You can't be crazy if you do some stuff that's that you're thinking about. That it doesn't go both ways. You know what I'm saying? If you're really crazy, you can't really be thinking about it. So it's all about the level of madness that you think that she has. Now, when I think of madness, Targaryen madness, and I think of the Mad King, it's different because it seemed like he had a sexual fulfillment.
Yeah.
When he was burning people, right? Kind of like serial killerish.
Yeah, he got turned on. That was weird.
They climax when they do, right?
Yeah, it's different.
They climax by doing this. It rouses them to that point. I didn't see that in Dan. That's what happened to the Mad King. He got turned on and had to have sex. He had to get it done as soon as he was done burning people. It just turned him on. I didn't see the turn on with Danny. I didn't see her touching herself. I didn't see her like, woo. I didn't see that going on. Kind of like Buffalo Bill. Buffalo Bill besides her last, he was touching herself when he was doing that stuff. I didn't see Danny doing that touch. So it's hard for me to see the flip of how she got so crazy on that show. I don't see it. And I agree that was one of the things that they could have fleshed out better, and they should have fleshed out better before it got to that point.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Our friend House Lawbridge mentioned something. House Lawbridge said, if King's Landing was to burn, it should have been from the wildfire the Mad King had hidden. Oh, I just missed it. Okay, not Danny. Did you notice that when Danny was flying through, some wildfire blew up, right? Do you think that Qyburn had put that there? Did you see that? Like while the dragon was. Do you think it was Kings or Qyburn?
But I think some of it was there, and I agree with King's Landing should have burnt from that Mad King. It should have been like she went a little crazy, and then she hit a wildfire, and then a domino effect just blew up. This kept going throughout the whole city. That would have been a much better thing, but they really wanted to make her like she was a maniac. Like they wanted to. I mean, even when they showed her, and it was a beautiful scene, probably one of the best scenes in all Game of Thrones. Is when she comes down, the dragon wings come on her back.
Yeah.
And she's walking down. That's beautiful, And then they have the banners hanging down by her, and she's giving the Nazi type speech and everything else. They were going for like she was going to conquer the whole world. And I just don't see that change in her from that. You know what I mean? I don't think that they did that well enough to represent that change. You know what I mean? So you can see how they tried to do it, but I just don't think they executed it all the way. All right, we discussed them for a little while. Let's go on to another character, and that is Jon Snow. People were not happy with the ending of Jon Snow. How do you feel about the turn that we've seen from Jon, the way he came across? Because to me, he was whining a little. I don't want to say like a woman or anything like that, because I don't want people to say, "Oh, Tony Teflon." No. I'm saying he was not as masculine. He was moping around a whole lot. That final season, it's like you're my queen. He was just so just out of nowhere. And every other time we've seen Jon, especially when you die and you come back, you're supposed to come back a little different. And it seemed like he came back scared, like he was afraid to die again, like he didn't want to come back if he died. But it seemed like how did you take that with Jon?
Well, one thing that just stands out to me, I love that scene where he killed his own man for attempting to rape someone. I found that to be I wouldn't have thought to put that in the script, and they did. I found that pretty cool. But I think the show sort of backed himself into a corner in a sense with Jon Snow, because they turned him into Hollywood Jon. In the books, Jon never goes to Jon's not part of like saving Craster. During the fight at the wall, Jon's injured. He's up in a little tower shooting a bow. You know what I mean? So the show turned him into a fighter when his true character is more of just someone who brings people together. So then when it comes down to the end of his arc, everyone's expecting him to A, beat the Night King, and then B, to be like this badass in King's Landing. But at the end of the day, Jon is a mopey, sad bastard. Mm-hmm. That's who he is. But the show tricked us because they brought us a different direction and then brought us back.
Mm-hmm. Let's answer Gray Area's question. She wants to know, why did the Lord of Light bring him? What did the Lord of Light bring him back for? When we look at what we've told, we go from the beginning. Lord of Light was to bring him back. Is he Azor Ahai reborn? Is he the prince that was promised? What was the reason why Jon Snow came back? It couldn't have been to defeat the Night King, because he didn't. Right? So why did the Lord of Light bring him back?
So, I mean, not many people believe me with this, but I'm just taking the words. Like, I've been trying to sell this idea for years, and no one's coming on board with me. But we can literally go to the Michelle Fairley and George R. Martin interview. They ask him, like, what about the Lord of Light? And he said that no gods have taken stage in this story, and I have no plans on bringing gods into this story. I don't even know if the gods are real. The people believe in them, but that doesn't mean they're real. I don't think the Lord of Light's real. So why did the Lord of Light bring him back? But I don't think there is a Lord of Light. I think he was brought back, and lucky him, he gets take two. But I don't think there's a reason per se, like a destiny or fate or reason.
I have a 100% opinion on this right now. What up to my man John Delabento in the building?
John, wait, real quick. What I just said, John will hate that because John loves the Lord of Light. The Lord of Light. What's up, John?
He did put a comment about that right there. So I will say this. He was brought back by the Lord of Light because the Lord of Light was Bran. Bloodraven. Same person. He was brought back to kill Daenerys. That was Bran, Bloodraven, or the show, whoever you want. That was their plan. They brought him back because they knew in the end that he had to kill Daenerys, because they would not have been able to kill Daenerys. He was brought back just for that specific reason, to make turmoil, to make people not follow her, and to kill her in the end. That was the reason why I believe that he was brought back when it's all said and done. I can't see any other reason why there's no other reason for him to have come back. That's the only thing he did, right? He didn't do anything else. He killed Daenerys. That was his whole thing, was to kill Daenerys. He was there for that. And we hear Bran say, he's like, I came to King's Landing because I knew I was going to be made king, right? He knew all this stuff was going to happen. That is the reason why he dropped Dime Bran, right? He's the one who opened his big mouth, right, and said who Jon's parentage was. Why did he do that? He knew what was going to happen by him saying that. He knew that was going to get Daenerys out of power. Jon be the one to kill him, and it was all a big setup by Bran so he could sit his ass on the Iron Throne in the end. And it's not Bran. It's really Bloodraven, the Children of the Forest. They're really dead, but that's what it is. I have a video series about that, but that's the way that's without a doubt the way I see it. You know what I mean? But that was all the reason why he was there. He was there just for that reason, just to do that. That was Jon. He was used. He was a puppet Jon when it was all said and done. But dealing again with Jon, we seen him as this great fighter. Now dealing with him, and then we have the Night King, and we see the Stairs Bridge 4. We're built up, since Hardhome, that we're gonna see a one-on-one fight, right, between these guys. And Game of Thrones, a lot is about one-on-one fights, right? So even when one of your favorite scenes in the beginning, right, of the books, first chapter, we see Waymar Royce, and he gets attacked by the White Walkers, right? They let him one-on-one fight with the one White Walker, right? They don't.
You're right, yeah.
Right? They let him fight. So if they're willing to do that, the minions, how isn't the king of them willing to fight Jon Snow one-on-one? How you like the way they handled that situation?
First, let me give a shout out to Gray Area. I know that many years ago, Gray championed this idea of that the White Walkers kind of have like visions of the future, maybe blurry visions of the future, and they're afraid of Jon Snow, and thus they thought Sir Waymar was Jon Snow. I'm pretty sure Gray originated that idea, so that's pretty cool. But for me, Jon Snow, like I said, the three things he does, I think he will fight in the Battle of the Bastards if that goes down in the books, but he was never actually like when he fights in the books, the closest he gets to a real fight, besides the killing the people during like his first thing with Ygritte, is that he gets his ass kicked by Mance Rayder in the courtyard, right? So I think Jon's whole arc, truly, outside of Hollywood Jon in the show, where they have him fighting everybody, is that Jon's someone who brings people together. Like he brought the wildlings or the free folk south of the wall, and then for the Battle of the Dawn, he's the one who Sansa's with him, and because Sansa has the veil, he has the free folk with him. He brought together when they went north. He had like the brothers, like Thoros and them, and then Sandor. He unites people, and he united Dany. So Jon, for me, was never supposed to get the kill. I think Arya's going to get the kill in the books, but I think Jon's just someone who brought everyone together, all the pieces that needed to be together to fight for the Dawn. And so I love Jon's arc too. Granted, I always say I'll on this is that I'm simple-minded, and I think I like to I tend to see like half empty, or I tend to see empty glasses as half full, maybe. But I love what they did with Jon Snow.
I hear you. I don't think that part was done well. We are built up from the beginning, whether it's Ned Stark with Jaime Lannister, the Tower of Joy scene, Jon Snow fighting anyone he's fought, the Thenn, and he got his face smashed into an anvil. Somehow he survived that. How he did it, I don't know. He must have like some wily coyote blood in him, right? Because that's the only other person I ever seen take an anvil that hard and get up from it. All right, that's a goddamn anvil, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? He took the anvil straight to the face with no hands blocking it, no nothing. He didn't break his nose. Nothing happened to him.
Orbital bone. Your orbital bone will get smashed if you got
happened to him. Until he's got that wily coyote blood in him. He's the only one I've ever seen do that. It must have been an Acme anvil. That's the only way I could see it survive him, right? But he's able to take this anvil to the face, defeat the Thenn. He's able to beat Carl Tanner, right? And Carl Tanner was whooping his ass anyway. You know, he was losing that fight. And then he got stabbed in the back, Carl Tanner. That's the only reason why he got that killed. Carl Tanner was putting it on him.
Yeah.
I don't know about Jon's this great fighter, but that's how it goes. That's how it goes down in fight. You know, people don't see the details. There's no attention to details. You know, it's kind of like any basketball game, a football game, or how someone wins it. You don't care about how it happened. You look at the end score, and that's usually the way it goes down. You know. And that's it. You get into a fight outside, you slip on a rock, you win in the fight, and you slip on a rock and you get beat up. No one says, "Oh, he slipped on the rock, he got beat up." They say you got beat up.
Yeah,
right. The rock got you got beat up. That's just what it is. So that's the way it goes with him. I'm gonna have Kev. I don't have to keep disagreeing with you here, but I'm gonna have to go with the people in the chat on this one too. I think that they did a terrible job with ending Bran's whole. I mean, with his storyline, the way they did Jon. They could have did Jon a little bit better. I understand your points, and I wish it was a little bit better, but I did not see them doing anything good there with him. All right, let's go to Tyrion Lannister.
Ooh.
How do you think that from what we've seen from the beginning of season 1 all the way to season 8, do you think that they did a good job on Tyrion Lannister's character?
Yeah, and part of that, here's a little fun fact. My mom all of a sudden reached out to me like 2 years ago or last year, and right before the season, she was like, "Do you know Peter Dinklage?" Because one of her buddies, someone she teaches with, her coworker taught Peter Dinklage, right? I was like, "Yeah, Mom, the dude's awesome." Apparently, he's from Jersey, but I thought they did great. So here's something: people don't like the ending, and a lot of people like King Bran or whatever, but I look at it almost like a King Tyrion in a sense, like the very last words of Jon Snow's very first chapter, that shadows go on the wall, and it's for just a moment Tyrion Lannister stood tall as a king. At the end of that final scene, what you had there was Tyrion sort of sitting. He's the hand of the king, but he was sitting as king. Bran's off, letting them do what they got to do. But it wasn't a true Tyrion king. They were all arguing, and I love that ending, even though it was sort of odd. But it's like that debate to me was sort of like a symbolic of a future transition into a more democratic government in the future. I love the way it ended, especially because it's more democratic, yet Tyrion was sitting in that seat. Tyrion was the king. I thought they did Tyrion pretty well. It's one last thing is that, man, throwing Varys under the bus, man, that was dirty. That was real dirty. I could not do that to a friend. You know what I mean? So, but what I love about it is that he regretted what he did, and more importantly, Varys forgave him. Wow, shout out to Varys. I think they ended Varys so positively. I love that guy more than I've ever loved him.
All right, so I'm going to say that no one that I think that they ruined Tyrion too, and I hate to say it, I truly hate to say it. I want to sit here and I want to agree with you on something. I do.
So name someone you like, because I like them all.
I've got to say somebody because he's supposed to be the smartest person of them all, right? That's what we are led to believe from the beginning. He can outthink everything. He's thinking on his feet all the time. He plays the game better than Littlefinger. He could do anything. He's Tyrion the super brain. You know, a book is the whetstone for the mind. That's why I read all my books. But when it came down to it in the end,
real quick, good quote there. Good quote.
You know, he was just acting like he didn't know anything to do. He didn't understand how to do this. He couldn't understand how to do that. And I don't like the fact that all of a sudden, this guy had the ability, while on death row, right? Because he was a dead man, to influence Jon to kill Daenerys while he's on death row. Like you have. Why would Jon believe you at this particular time? You're about to get executed. You've already betrayed her. You're about to die here. Of course, you're going to say whatever you have to say to save your own life. So it really, even if you want to say that Tyrion is no justification for him doing what he did, because he's just trying to save his own life. So you can't say he had too much skin in the game at that particular time, right? Because if I'm on death row and the person who's going to execute me is there, and there's someone who can get to her, I'm going to say whatever I can say to get off of death row. And if they didn't mean for it to be like that, that's the way it came across by putting him on death row like that. He should have been talking that shit to Jon before he was on death row, not after he got put on death row.
He tried. Oh, no, that was Varys. Varys tried.
Yeah, no. He's telling her to kill her. You know, he wouldn't say, you know, and Tyrion is a guy who, you know, it's basically, you know, usually it's a marriage here, marriage there. He's saying, so you got to kill Dany. You're the only one who can kill her, Jon. Not you ain't got to talk to her. Not do this. You kill her. You got to kill her. So when you go into that situation, and we're gonna go back to Jon real quick. I have to bring this up.
Yeah, totally.
I forgot it. So, and we're just winging this off the head. So that's why I ain't have anything written down. It's dumb, unrealistic that they would have let Jon Snow live if he killed Daenerys. There's no way.
Grey Worm would have flipped out.
The Dothraki, anyone, the savages.
Oh, yeah.
They don't care about people outside. Oh, yeah. If you touch Jon, we're going to come. They don't care about, they ain't thinking about that. You just killed the woman who was like their god, right? That's Misa.
Misa,
right? That's Misa. You just killed Misa. And all of a sudden, he gets to live? No one take him out? You know, I've seen people go to prison for less and get taken out. But this dude killed Misa. He gonna kill Misa. And he gonna be able to live through it and just get put in a cell. It's just unrealistic. It's just no way he should have been able to survive that. That's the way Grey Worm was. You know, when he was in King's Landing, Grey Worm was trying to kill everybody. Right? They were so savages running through every. Jon was trying to stop him. They were like, "Now we killing everyone."
Yep.
You know what I mean? He was like Tombstone. He was like Wyatt Earp. If you got a red sash on, I'm killing the man wearing it. Right?
Lady Stoneheart.
Bottom line, if you got that sash on you, if you have Lannister on you, a uniform on, I don't care if you give up. We're killing you anyway. Yep. You know, but now all of a sudden, the person who kills their savior gets to sit in the cell and no one gets to touch him. And the reason why they tried to say was because, you know, Sansa and them had their people outside of King's Landing. They wouldn't care about that. They would have been ready to die. They would have been ready to die themselves. All those Unsullied, and all they would have been ready to die. They would have been ready to get killed right there. You know what I mean? Jon Snow should have been taken out at that particular time. Got to agree with Melissa Robinson here. Now Snow should have been dead. That's you know what I mean, and that's just facts right there. There's no way he should have been able to. You know, how can the dragon didn't kill his ass? How the dragon didn't burn his ass down? This Drogo watched him kill her, and all he does is burn the chair. Not only does he just burn the chair. See, this is the problem I have too with this show. I'm gonna have to say this right, and I don't want this to become to a bitch fest. People think, but I have a certain thing about fire, right? Now, you have regular fire that you see on the torches, right? You get some fire on you. Ow, 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 ow. Stop, drop, and roll, right? Stop, drop, and roll. We all learned that in school. We seen the commercials when we were little. Stop, drop, and roll. You see everyone, right? It was a song. You did that. That's fire, right? Then you got wildfire, right? You can't stop, drop, and roll. It still goes, right? Mm-hmm. That's the difference between wildfire and regular fire, that you can't stop, drop, and roll. Even if you do that, it's still going to burn your ass, right? Now we're talking about goddamn dragon fire.
Oh, yeah.
To me, dragon fire is, as soon as it hits you, you're ash. Like, there's no screaming with it. As soon as it hits you, you are turned to ash. That's what dragon fire is supposed to be to me. That's what I think of dragon fire. I just think, whoof, and you're ash. That's it. It's done. It's a pile of ash right there. This dude This dragon burned down the whole Iron Throne, and he wasn't able to do it quick. It took him a second. Jon is standing right next to it, and the heat don't bother him. I've been by house fires, huge fires, and I felt those flames from down the block. You can feel the heat, and you can't even approach it. It's so hot. How was he able to stand right there and just duck and just do this, and nothing happened to him? See, it's things like that. And this dragon has been so protective of Daenerys, all three of them, the whole time. But now all of a sudden, they see him kill her, but they don't want to kill Jon Snow. They just want to burn the Iron Throne and then pick up her body and fly away. It really doesn't make any sense when it says that. Now, you know, it doesn't make any sense to me that they would do that. Now we have Bernie here, who likes the beef. But we're going to put a comment up. She says he's a Targaryen.
That's not why.
You know, I've seen dragons eat Targaryens. Yeah. Right? And the Dance with Dragons, isn't that what they did? They cut the woman right in the breast, and that dragon went to town and ate her ass, right? Yep. So it didn't matter then. It didn't matter then. So if they were willing to do that, I can't see why Red Dragon would not, big-ass dragon, would not have ate Jon Snow alive right then. Jon Snow, he shouldn't. I don't know. You know, I mean, you want to call it plot armor, you want to call it whatever it is. There's twice right there in two scenes. There's no way he should have been able to survive those scenes. Go ahead. You have something to say?
Yeah. So you must not have seen my crazy theory that I've thrown it out there a couple times. So the short version is that, you know how like Silverwing and Vermithor used to coil around each other at like the before the Battle of Second Tumbleton. Silverwing and Vermithor were coiling around each other. It seemed like they loved each other. And it was almost hinted at that, like, people, just like warging, how you exchange souls. Jaehaerys, the Conciliator, and Queen Alysanne, like, they were husband and wife riding those dragons. Their souls seem to have lived on in their dragons. So for me, the ending is that that whole conversation was about Dany not being able to show mercy, and Jon's like, we need a world of mercy. So he kills her, and I think the silver lining is that she now lives on within Drogon, and she showed Jon mercy. That's how I foresaw the ending, is that was not Drogon not killing Jon, it was Dany choosing not to kill Jon. So Dany actually went out as a hero in a sense. She was able to change.
Plex says, I agree with Jon not being fireproof, but D&D made Dany fireproof and probably thought the same for Jon. Well, I'm gonna say that I thank you for the question, but we seen Jon get burned by a torch, right? When he grabbed the lantern and threw it on the white in the beginning, he had to bandage his hand after that. That also happens in the show, in the books. In the books, after that happens, you always see Jon. He's doing the clenching. He's clenching his hand all the time after that, right? Because he's got that hand. So I think in both times you see him get burnt. So I don't think they ran that with him. I think they just ran it with Dany. So I don't know if it holds water right there to that point with them, but I think it's a good question, and it's understandable why you would definitely ask that question. You know what I mean? I just think that they just effed up, and I think that, as Gray said, they actually were just trying to get rid of this thing, and they weren't thinking everything through. You know what I mean? They weren't putting things together. Maybe they thought that people are stupid and we're just not going to care. You know what I mean? But hey, these guys are stupid. They're not going to think about realistically how these things should have went down. They're just going to think about, oh, it went down, which is wrong. Obviously, it's a book series, and a lot of nerds read these books, so obviously they're going to really analyze it. And you should have known this from after all those seasons, how people treat this shit. You should have known people were going to come for you if you did something stupid like that. All right, let's go to Littlefinger real quick right now. How do you think they did with Littlefinger's arc?
How little is Littlefinger? Dude, I just read Alicent. How do you say her name? Elaine 1 from the Winds of Winter, the Sansa chapter.
Yeah.
Dude, I love that chapter. It's a transition chapter, but Sansa becomes boss in that chapter. Wow. Mm-hmm. Most people hated how Littlefinger went down. I think it's going to go down almost identically in the books. I feel like I'm in the minority in the sense that I loved, because now we're going back. What was that? That was was that 7 or 6? That was season 7, right? Was that 6? No, that was season 7. I think they nailed Littlefinger's arc. I thought it was great. But I loved Littlefinger's arc.
Right. Unspun Yard, I think you're right. A dragon is not a slave. They could think for themselves.
Yes, they're slaves. They literally get taken over, and people make them do what they want. Hey, all right, let me jump in real quick with this. All right. So Laena Velaryon used to ride Vhagar. And then my favorite Targaryen, or my favorite male Targaryen, Prince Daemon Targaryen, the rogue prince, he rode Caraxes. They traveled the world together. Then she dies. Then Aemon One Eye gets Vhagar. They're on the opposite sides of the Dance with the Dragons. They meet up at the God's Eye, and now the dragons used to flew the world together. Now the dragons hated each other because part of Daemon is residing within Caraxes, and part of Aemon, like their personalities are within the dragons. Like, so when here's an example. When Daemon's got Caraxes, and his girl Nettles, which is in my top 3, I freaking love Nettles and Sheepstealer. They're hanging out with him. Before that fight, he sends Nettles off. When Nettles flew off with Sheepstealer, Caraxes let out a howl. But that wasn't necessarily Caraxes howling. That was Daemon Targaryen's pain coming out through Caraxes, because the whole like dragons aren't a slave. No, working and dragon bonding, I would do it. I love wolves and I love dragons. I'd love to fly, but it's a form of slavery, I think.
It definitely is when you deal with body snatching, right? It's
exactly.
Snatching. And we see exactly how Hodor reacts to Bran, right? He's cowering in his brain.
Exactly.
Hodor's scared to death, but Bran still does it anyway. So when we deal with that, I think you're correct when you deal with that. Gray area. She says that Daemon is bad rap. So y'all agree on that situation right there. All right, so let's go back to Littlefinger. I think this is 3 for 3 right here, but I'm going to say it was terrible. It was terrible. I have no choice, especially the way he went out. From okay. all we learned about what Littlefinger does, the way he was killed was totally stupid. All right. And that you got to look at what she, all right, if you look at the charges she tried to put on him, none of them stuck. All right. None of them. First, none of them stuck. You had her say that you conspired, you killed my aunt. All right. Mm-hmm. Easily he could say, I killed her because of you. She was trying to kill you. I did that to save your life. That's the end of that charge is gone right there. You know what I mean? What's the next charge? You sent a letter to my mother starting the War of the Five Kingdoms. Where's the letter? Catelyn burnt that letter. There's no proof he sent that letter, and it wasn't in his handwriting. I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't send shit. This is the first time I'm ever hearing of it. Right? I mean, there's no evidence here. You know, and then when you have the situation with him and Bran, and he's sitting there with Bran, right? And then Bran sits there. What does Bran, when Bran, I know Bran who says, chaos is a ladder, right?
Yeah.
And says that to him, chaos is a ladder, blah, 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 blah. Why didn't Littlefinger just slice his throat right then? There was no one in the room. There was no one there. It was just him and there. He could have cut Bran's throat with the dagger that Bran had already been tried to get assassinated with. He could have chopped Bran's head off right then and walked right out the room. They would have came in and said, there's no cameras back then. There's no security footage. There's no body cam action going on here. They're going to find him slumped over with his neck sliced in his chair and say, how'd that happen? I don't know. You do Scooby-Doo. I don't know. Right? That works a lot. You know, you can do that. I've done it to women before. Like, what are you doing outside? That works. The Scooby-Doo technique works, guys. I'm trying to tell you. Do Scooby-Doo a couple of times. It works. He could have pulled that off if he really had to do it, right? But he didn't. So when I look at that, and then all he did was drop to his knees and beg, that is not goddamn Littlefinger. Littlefinger is supposed to always be thinking on his feet. And that's the bottom line. When Bran said that to him, he could have said, I demand a trial by combat. Go to Vale and get me somebody. I want a trial by combat. You know, I don't accept your guilty verdict. You're not slicing my throat. I want a trial by combat. Let the guys decide it. That's the letter of the law. He didn't even invoke the trial by combat. This is a guy who was willing to duel for Catelyn Stark, right? So, you know, he'll hold down the sword if he has to. Not saying he would have won if no one would have fought for him, but it's something that is not beyond him doing. Him dropping on his knees and begging like a little girl is something that we've never seen of his character. And all of a sudden, I don't think he would have been able to be reduced to that situation in there. You know what I mean? So I just thought that was just terrible. You know what I mean? And when they had his whole arc that I was seeing was just basically just him trying to conspire to get, you know, the two sisters to go against each other. Why did he really need Arya and Sansa not to be on each other's side? That, you know, there's no reason for it. He was already down with Sansa. So why did he have to have her fight with Arya? There was no need for him to have that.
Because Arya was sneaking around, spying on him.
But she didn't catch him doing nothing. He was leaving notes for her. We're going to talk about Arya. We could transition Arya right now, and all that damn faceless man trainer didn't come into play. All right. Why did she get beat with that stick to tell if somebody's lying, but she fell for every trick Littlefinger set her up for? All right. She fell for every one of them. You know what I mean? But she got beaten with a stick when someone was talking about lying and everything else. You know what I mean? So, you know, we'll leave it at Littlefinger right now. Let's go into Arya because we got to talk about her because you brought it up. Let's go. How do you feel about the character of Arya? Briggs.
Yeah.
You heard how you felt every other time.
Arya, I'm sorry to do this, man, but Arya, I love Jaime. He might not be my favorite character. Like Arya, just like John Del Vento, who loves Arya, she might be. I've read, like, not exaggerating, I've read Arya's chapters. It's about like 48 times. There's 31 of them. There were times where I was making videos last year where I would read every single chapter 3 times for a single video. I absolutely adore her and her arc. It's wild. I didn't foresee her killing, even though I gave that as an option in a video. I didn't. I thought they were going to heal the Night King. But I think I'm just so proud of her. I think it's going to go down exactly the same in the books. She is the Night Wolf. And like, oh yeah, she is Night Wolf. She's a Night Wolf. I think that's her destiny.
I didn't see any wolf in her. In all honesty, I seen her at night. And you know what comes out at night? The freaks. All right. That's what comes out at night. The goddamn freaks come out at night. That's when I know it comes out at night. But when I look at Arya, even when she got to, you know, everything from Arya, from Harrenhal with Tywin Lannister, that was some of the great Game of Thrones.
That was good. That was good.
All that was good. Once she got to Bravos, it started going downhill for Arya. You know, everything before that, when she, in the Hound and she's sitting out there, you know, when Beric Dondarrion's fighting the Hound and she's screaming, kill You know,
Crazy,
all that stuff is great, you know. And then she tries to escape, and the Hound knocks her unconscious. I felt so bad. I was like, and then she gets to the red wedding, and she's so close, but she's so far again. I felt so bad for her. You know, it always brings tears to my to my eyes. You know what I mean? Brings tears to my eyes. You know what I mean? When I think about that, you know what I'm saying? But when I look at when she got to Bravos, when I look at the faceless man training that she went through and everything else out there, what did she go through all that to learn? What did she actually learn there? Thank you for the super chat. Fernandez T saying the freaks come out at night. The freaks come out. You know that song. You remember that song back in the day? Do you remember that song?
No, who's that? The freaks come.
Houdini back in the day. The freaks come out at night. The freaks come out at night. That's back in the day, baby. That's back in the 30s right there. You got that stuff right there. That's what it is, man. The freaks come out at night, baby. Y'all look up that song. Yeah, that was a hit song back in the day.
Who is
smash hit, huh?
Who is the who's lived the longest in the entire story of everyone? Even longer than Melisandre, it's the Night King. He's never once died. And so what did she learn in Bravos? Valar Morghulis. All men must die. And he was violating that more than any other person on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And wait, let me read this quote. I couldn't think about it. This is great, right? Yeah, since she's a warg in the book, she's warging Nymeria, and Nymeria is eating humans. Meat was meat and men were prey. She was the night wolf, but only when she dreamed. But not only when she dreamed, she went up to Winterfell, and she was the night wolf who saved Winterfell.
All right, let's talk about this night. We're gonna go back. We're gonna get to the night wolf stuff. We gonna get to that real quick. So she's in Bravo. We're going through a thing. So we agree that everything we've seen up until Bravos was perfect, Arya, right? Everything.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
Pharrell, all that stuff, hot pie, everything leading up to that was great. All the stuff with the hounds traveling around, all that stuff was great. She goes out to Bravos, right? She goes all the way out to Bravos to go undertake this faceless man training. This is when it gets a little wacky for Arya, all right?
Okay.
Not only is she in here, we could talk about how she got stabbed in the stomach. And listen, when the wave stabbed her, it's not like she had a razor blade and slashed her across the face. She put the whole entire knife into the hilt. There was nothing but the hilt left. It was that deep of a wound in her stomach, right? But somehow it didn't hit nothing. It didn't hit not nothing because she was able to headbutt this chick and then do a suicide flip into the river, right? How did that happen? How is it possible that she was able to do this? And then how is it possible when we hear how much it cost to hire a faceless man that this person who wasn't even the main actress in the show was able to hire a faceless man to kill the main actress in the show? So
I've like of all my videos and theories, the one that I've originated that I've been putting it off for years. I'm going to release it finally in August, and a lot of my friends in the chat already know it. So I'll give you the short version is that the video is going to be called Arya Stark is Tyler Durden. Really, it's the waif is Tyler Durden. I think the waif is just a figment of her split personality because her entire story over there for me is fighting. Arya Stark, there was a hole inside Arya where her heart had been. She just wanted so badly with the Hound. She just wanted to sleep all night. And over in Bravos, she just didn't want to be Arya because she's trying to escape her pain. I think that whole journey was actually a battle of her face, her identity. I don't think the waif is real. So it's like the waif stabbed her. No, I think if you even look, the way they did it, it's really her stabbing herself. And I think so. I don't think the waif is. I think it's a figment of her imagination.
You're gonna have to put the video out now.
So that's the short version. But
so you think that when she was talking to Jack and Hagar,
I think he's real in the show.
And Jack and says someone's face is going up on this wall. He was just talking about her, or there was no other person. Then you're saying. So
I think so like he gave her he gave her. I have a video on this too. I've already put that out at least. Like he gave her something. She drank something and she went blind, right? But I don't like the waif. Where did the waif go? The waif all of a sudden just disappears. The waif was there. The waif was never actually there. The waif is just a figment of her imagination, at least for me, because it all just comes down to her storyline being about like back in Westeros, it was like she starts off as Arya Horseface, and it's all about. Then she's like pretending to be someone else. She's pretending to be Harry. So in the beginning, it's like people, they made fun of her and they called her a tomboy. Then there's the journey of purposely pretending to be someone, a different identity for your own safety. And then after she's completely broken, it's about her trying to escape her own identity. Like, and they never, in the books, the elderly man didn't want her to come there. He's like, there have never been female faceless men. Women bring life to the earth. Men, like, we take life. Like, you shouldn't be here. And so, like, the whole people are like, why was Jaqen smiling when she left? It's because he never actually wanted her to be a faceless man in the first place. Like, Arya is a woman. Women bring life into the world. So he was so happy to see her win the battle against the Waif and get out.
Says, great theory, Bridge, but D&D aren't smart enough to write a story like that.
I think it's George R. R. Martin's story, though.
I'm not going to smash your theory because I don't know if it's true or not. You're my man. So I would love to see it all. I would let them come back and we'll deal with it. But I will say this.
Yeah.
All right. Let's deal with Arya real quick on that. And this got nothing to do with your theory. When we see the training of the faceless men, we have to believe that they all go through the same training, right?
Yeah,
that's
presumably.
How you become a faceless man, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So if Arya was blinded, we have to believe that someone else was blinded. Like, that's not the first time they did it, right?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't just say, "Hey, let's experiment on this girl blind and see what happens," right? Yeah. They did it to a lot of different people, right? That's just what it is, right? So why is it that the way she beats the Waif is when she turns out all the lights? Shouldn't the Waif be used to not seeing too? I mean, shouldn't she be like, you turn the lights off? I don't need to look either. I've been through this before you. Shouldn't this, that shouldn't be an effect? You know what I mean? That's like saying something like, oh, I'm gonna try to think of something really silly real quick. Like, oh, we're going to have a race versus a NASCAR guy. You have to drive the stick shift. I'm going to drive the stick shift car. Well, I know how to drive stick shift too. That's not going to be a detriment to me. We had the same exact training, right? So it just doesn't make any sense to me. So that's the way I see it right there. Thank you for the super chat. The Bloody Talker, season 6, 7, and 8 ruined the whole series.
Look at that avatar, though. Shout out to that avatar.
No doubt about it. That's how you step up your game, people.
Right?
Step up your game. Keep it out there right there. We got Victoria Harris. What are we talking about? We are talking about, did season 8 ruin the whole series of Game of Thrones? That is what we're talking about.
And shout out to that avatar.
Yeah, shout out to all these avatars. Victoria Harris right there. Shout out to your avatar right there. Everyone's still, look at T-Baby. Look at the sexy.
T-Baby changed it up today, I think.
He did change it up. You see what she's doing? She see what she's doing. All right, we're gonna keep it. We're gonna keep it. And then John, there's John, right? Guys, you gotta step up your avatars. All right, we talked about that. All right, you gotta step that up. All right, we're serious tonight. All right, so dealing with Arya with that point, we go from that to her killing the Freys.
Okay.
Did you think that was a justifiable kill? Like that was the way you think it could play out the same way? Poison Walter Frey, kill Walter Frey, poison the rest of them.
It makes sense in the sense that they play it off in the show like the faceless men are good fighters, but that's not really what they are. They're ninjas. They sneak around, they poison people and whatnot. Kind of like what Jaqen did at Harrenhal. That's more of how a faceless man operates. So the fact that they mentioned poison several times over in the books while she's over there, I think she may have learned them in the show. It kind of leads I'm not sold on this, but I think it may go down similarly in the books. It really hurt me though, because let me just quickly go back to that Tyler Durden thing. What was her last words when she left Bravos? It's, I am Arya Stark and I'm going home. Like, she finally found her identity. So I thought she had finally gotten over, but I was wrong in the sense that she didn't get over her pain. What she got over is the fact that, all right, I'm ready now to deal with my pain. But when she gets back to Westeros, she still has to deal with it. And she still had that vengeance, which carried through to the second to last episode with the Hound. So yeah, I think I was really upset for her because man, you got better things to do than poison people like that. Not that they deserved it, but it was just one last thing is that when Jon kills people, he hung people like Ollie and them, there's pain in his eyes because he doesn't want to kill people, but they did deserve to die. When Arya walked out after killing the Freys, she had crazy eyes. She was happy. You shouldn't get happy.
Sorry. I'm going to ask you.
That's it.
You think Ollie had the right to die?
No, because he's a child. What he went through, I couldn't. I would have been the same way as Ollie. That's a sad such. Yeah.
Ali could have been justified for doing what he did.
Yeah.
He trusted Jon. These are people that murdered his family.
Yeah, I hear you.
And Jon is the one who allowed these people to, if someone murdered my family and they were on death row or whatever, and then the guy I trust that I look up to lets him out of jail, I don't know if I'm gonna be cool with that person anymore. I could see that why Ali did what he did. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, I could see that 100%. Now he did kill Egret. He gave the nod.
That was awesome. That was awesome.
Yeah, Ali at some point, Ali was more hated than Joffrey. I think the level of hate was right there.
Like you have Twitter, like there's probably a FUCK Ollie hashtag, right? That was probably trending.
I think it was right there. You know what I mean? So when you deal with Arya, we deal with that. What the biggest issue I do have with Arya is not just the ending, the vengeance ending of going down there and the Hound teaching her with vengeance, it's not worth it, and everything else like that. I don't think that she really needed the Hound to teach her that. I thought that was a weak ending for her. I thought that, if they wanted to do something with Littlefinger, they didn't use her faceless men training enough. It should have been her, like, pretending to be somebody else and then catching him in a lie, then revealing the face, and that's how you catch him. You shouldn't have Bran just reciting a line, and not everyone just believes that Bran is telling the truth. Everyone just believes that what he's saying is what it is. I just don't know how everyone just believes it. Because I wouldn't believe if you came to me and said, listen, I just touched a tree and I just seen this about you. I'd be like, I don't believe you because you touched something.
Exactly.
Touch it right now. Prove it. Prove it right now. Touch this tree and tell me my fortune. Prove it. Thank you right here. The huge. Huge is huge. Jacked. Yeah, that's stuff. You got to show me game. People send a picture up. I have to get back in the gym. We gotta get back in the gym. Going, God damn.
I know, right? Embarrassing us, man.
We got a hashtag
there you go.
Up in here. We got people saying Ali made his choice and had suffered the consequences and everything else. Ali was a young kid influenced by grown adults.
Yeah.
You always gotta look at that situation. All right. We seen that. We talked to. Let's go into real quick. Let's go into Sansa Stark. Try to hit the main characters. Sansa Stark. Do you like the way they handled Sansa Stark's arc? Do you think that it ended the way ended well for her and everything else?
Yep. I think.
I can hear you. Let's go to the drink.
Yeah, absolutely. I think part of the way to enjoy what happened to Littlefinger is to appreciate what happened to Sansa. Like a lot of people aren't that big a fan of Sansa. I definitely think that Sansa's arc is centered around becoming the best player in the Game of Thrones. Like I said, I just read Elaine 1 today. So at the all the what is it? It's a Feast for Crows chapters. Like it's Sansa 1, Elaine 1, Elaine 2. She's learning from Littlefinger. He's telling her all the game. Then she plays it a little bit in the room with the Lords of the Vale, whatever they call it, the council. And then I just can't believe I hadn't read that chapter until today. Elaine 1, she finally starts making moves of her own. I think she's destined to become the one true queen of the North. I love her. I love her arc, and I'm so proud of her. Yeah, I think they did a great job.
I agree with you on the point that she is going to become the one true king of the North.
Yeah.
And I believe that in that chapter, when you read the book, you see that she's on that way to becoming the next Littlefinger and playing the Game of Thrones. But they did not execute that well in the show, and I'll tell you exactly how.
And wait, real quick, and part of your answer, you may say, like, do you think she's conniving? A lot of people think. I don't think she's conniving. I think she, but yeah, that's so. I stand apart from people with that. I love what she did. And I think it was all just. Christina Green.
Super chat. She says she was always meant to be the Queen of North. Thank you for the super chat. We do appreciate that. Great area says. Let's pull it up real quick. Sansa can't keep secrets in season 1. Can't keep secrets in season 8. She cannot. She dropped dime quick, right? When she found out about Jon, she spread that information throughout everyone. She just spread the information. Now,
what information was it, though? She was right. Dany was crazy. She was
Oh,
right.
she didn't know that at that particular time. Danny
Yeah.
didn't. She didn't. She was just. Danny was complimenting her clothes, doing all the nice stuff. She's trying to get down with her.
Danny came to conquer her, and she has her people. Her people didn't want to be conquered. Sansa stuck up for the North. And then
Yeah,
when they had that nice little scene, and then when Sansa says, like, no, we're going to be independent, Danny, all of a sudden, boom, craziness, changed like a dime, walked out of the room all nuts.
well, Spanish would have did the same thing. So it's hard for me,
Yeah.
you can't take my Northern Kingdom too. You know what I mean? Stannis is the one true king of Westeros. All right, so I will say this when you deal with Sansa. All right, and this is a problem I have with it. You say that she was supposed to be learning from Littlefinger all this time, right? They show a scene of her with her hair dyed black.
Yeah.
She comes down in this black outfit, right? Like Maleficent, right? How you pronounce that word? Maleficent, right?
I don't know.
Maleficent. Right? She comes down in that like
The Disney girl?
yeah, it's a Disney girl.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Like Maleficent. Maleficent.
Maleficent.
What a weird word. Yeah, she's hot.
She comes down there all cocky, right? She comes down there like, all right, let's go, let's do this. I know Littlefinger says you're gonna go to the north, you're gonna take this Ramsay, you're gonna wrap him around your finger, and you're gonna get him to do what you want. Instead, as soon as she gets there, she insults him.
Yeah.
She just talks down to him the whole time. Oh, you're just a bastard. You're a bastard. Who are you talking to, bastard? This new baby is gonna have more keep than you. You don't know nothing. You're just a little bastard. Like, where is the wrap around the finger?
Mm-hmm.
Where you just turn to the cocky, stuck-up Sansa you had always been when you were a child with your sister in King's Landing. You turn right back to that. Where was the teaching of how to wrap someone around your finger? Where was that? So it's I don't know if she could have actually done it, but not the way she talked. She didn't even attempt to do anything like that before. She didn't do anything. She just went down there straight insulting this guy. What do you think he's gonna do to you? Now I'm sure she didn't know his level of crazy.
She kind of did. She at that point.
Yeah, but you don't know. You know better.
Yeah.
Than to do that. You know what I mean? So when I see that, I don't see the arc there for her that she should have been able to have. Now maybe it's because obviously we know in the book, what up, Mona Carmona? We know in the books, Sansa's not in that position, right? She is not in Winterfell. That's not her who gets raped. That's all Jane Poole. Mm-hmm. So quite possibly, this Sansa, the real Sansa, wouldn't do that or wouldn't put herself in that position and would be a little bit more crafty. So maybe they had to dumb her down because they gave her Jane's part and her part, and they had to make it look like that. You know what I mean? So maybe that's what it is. I'm not sure, but I just don't like the way Sansa's part went right there. Everything else I'm fine with her. Her telling, Jon, this is the way you win the battle. You don't know him like I know, and them not listening to her when they should have took her advice and everything else. Her sticking up for the North and not being a part of Daenerys. Her knowing that, hey, you got to put some fur underneath that vest if you want to wear that vest. All that stuff I'm cool with, and I think that she did a great job as acting like a leader and everything else like that. You know what I mean? But it's just really just that one part that I have a problem with Sansa is that one part. I think everything else is fine, but that one part.
Real quick, I'm going to agree with you that it's just a function of her basically being an amalgamation of Jane Poole. Now, just to play devil's advocate, if it helps people deal with that sort of mistake in her gameplay, because her arc is to become like the smartest player in the game, is that you could say Starks are known to have tempers. So she's not perfect. She had a temper and she made a mistake. Are you muted?
I can't hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me?
Or is it me?
I couldn't hear you for a second. Now I can.
I can't hear you. Is it me? All right. Can y'all hear me?
I think you're going in and out.
All right. Hey, can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, there's something going on with me. All right. I can hear you now.
Yeah.
Okay, say what you're saying
No,
again.
yeah, but I'm with you. The only like she is Jane Poole in the book, so that's sort of they had to come up with their own scripting there. And so if you want to get more comfortable with it, and it's like yeah, she is a great game player, but that was definitely a mistake in her game, which I don't like. But you know, Starks are known to have quick tempers. You could say that, and she just made a mistake. But that's a pretty bad mistake to make because
That
Ramsay was
mistake almost got you killed.
yeah exactly, and
Almost
Ramsay
got
is
you
cray
killed, you
cray.
know what I mean? It almost cost you and stuff. All right, let's go through that. Let's go through Theon Greyjoy real quick.
Ooh, you like Dion, right? Come
Yeah,
on, that's think we got one.
What do you think about Theon's arc?
Perfect, heart wrenching. The actor Alfie Allen, thank you for being you, man. I thought Theon's arc was perfect, flawless. It was beautiful, except I don't like, dude. Like you know, we're athletes and we're like. I didn't like the way he was wobbling up there with this little spear. The only thing I could say is that he just had a full battle, so maybe now he's like a little tired. But the way he was wobbling with the spear just didn't look that badass. But Theon's arc and everything he did, God, I love Theon Greyjoy. Good for him.
I hate Theon. He deserves everything he got when he got tortured. He deserved to get tortured, right? We're not going to argue about that. He violated to the point where he deserved to get. If Rob would have caught him, Rob would have just killed him. Right?
Let's make it right though. He was Lord Eddard treated him like a son, but he was basically a prisoner his whole life. That's not cool.
All right. But did he not get on his knees in front of Rob and say,
"Yeah,
am I your brother and you're my brother from now?" He did say that, right?
He did. He's a kid though. He was like 16 or something.
I'm just going by what he said, right?
Yeah.
And he said that, got on his knees, went back home, tried to have sex with his sister, right? Let's look at the whole story here, Bridge. Let's not pick and choose. Let's look at the whole story.
Yeah.
Tried to have sex with his sister, right? And then and he did, violate her fingerly, right? He did do that while he was riding with her.
Oh yeah.
Right? He was doing that, and all of a sudden, because his dad stripped his clothes off him, all of a sudden he decided he was Ironborn again. I just don't see how all of a sudden that would just change you, just someone stripping you out of your clothes. You know what I mean? You can't. If I get stripped out of my clothes, I'm still Tony Teflon. Naked, I'm Tony Teflon. Fully clothed, I'm Tony Teflon. That's not going to change me just taking me out of my clothes. So I don't understand that. I think he got everything he deserved.
One liner is
worse.
One liner is that, like I said, the Dalai Lama once said, "Forgiveness is a strength." If Sansa and Jon can forgive him, then I can too. You know what I mean?
And that's the whole thing too. I don't forgive him. Sansa forgives him because he got her out of that situation.
Okay, true.
And he deserved to get her out of that situation, right? So he didn't do anything special by getting her out there. He deserved to get her out of that situation. And he should have just did it. There's a couple of things that it's kind of like when I say like a ruining of the show, like things that ruin the show. And we're gonna talk about Theon once again, but it's kind of like when how can I say like when Roose Bolton died, right? And then all of a sudden Ramsay has a knife on his back in the scene that he never had a knife in his back before. Like he had the brawn knife right on the swell of his back. It's lazy stuff like that. Like all of a sudden this just pops up. If he had that on from the beginning, every time we see him, it would, but if you see him in that scene for the first time with that knife, it's pretty obvious that this is what's going to happen, So I think it's lazy writing like that gets the show in trouble when you deal with a situation like that. It's little stupid things that I think that they just don't think that the fans are going to pick up on because they're underestimating us. That's what it is. Now, we're going back to Theon. I don't like it to the point where You
just went off again. You're muted. You're back.
Something going.
Yeah, your audio keeps going in and out. What mic are you using? Because at one point when you're
using the mic,
it's going in and out.
It is keep going in and out for some reason. We're not going to deal with it. We're going to end it because just in case it goes out, we'll end it right now. We're not going to go through that stuff. We'll come back and do another one and finish up all the other characters. You cool with that, Bridge? Not tonight.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. In case anyone didn't hear him, he's saying we're going to end the stream. He's going to come back another time and do the rest of the characters.
So what up? Thanks to everybody out there who tuned in and watched. Make sure you subscribe to Bridge 4 and you subscribe to Bridge 4 channel, Tony Teflon channel, Gray Area in the chat. Everybody else there, AK47, everyone else there, T-Baby, all the people out there who has channels, subscribe to all of our channels.
And if you like the way I do, it's LMR. Please subscribe to LMR's channel and subscribe to the Laying the Dime podcast. And until next time, you know who it is. Peace and stay sexy.